I found out she was cheating on me at the back of a black Escalade, in a parking lot, not through screenshots, in person, real life. 11:48 p.m., Friday night. I wasn't even supposed to be there. I was tired. I almost went home, but something felt off. You know that feeling? When your chest gets tight and nothing has happened yet, but your body already knows? Yeah, that one. So I drove past her apartment. Her car wasn't there. Instead, black Escalade, far corner, engine running, windows fogged. And bro, there was movement. My eyes were fucking glued to that car. Then the door opened.
All right, I'm Bob, and today we're gonna interview my friend, Kai. And we're learning about something nobody teaches you: how to get over someone who replaced you, and why sometimes the hardest part isn't losing them, it's getting over them. So, please continue.
So she stepped out, fixing her hair, laughing, and cleaning her lipstick. And I know exactly what happened. Okay, stay with me, because what I did next was worse than what she did. I didn't confront her. I just drove home, smiling, like a damned psychopath. I guess that's what shock does. Your brain protects you by pretending you just watched your relationship die in 4K resolution. But the next day, I confronted her. She cried. Of course she cried. It didn't mean anything. You've been distant. It just happened. Ah, yes, cheating that just happens. And here's the part that will make you lose respect for me. I stayed for 2 more months after seeing that.
Quick pause. There's a reason he stayed. When someone hurts you but also gives you affection, your brain processes it as scarcity, and scarcity feels addictive. That's called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same psychological loop that keeps people at slot machines. Random reward, random pain. You don't walk away, you try to win.
Bro, let me tell my story.
I'm helping.
You are not helping. You are doing a freaking TED Talk. Let me land.
Fine, continue. I'll behave.
You think heartbreak makes you strong. No, it makes you negotiable. And what happened in those 2 months? That's where I really lost myself. Those 2 months were torture. Every time her phone buzzed, my stomach dropped. Every time she went out with friends, my brain created Netflix-level scenarios, full surround sound, director's cut. I became a detective, checking followers, checking likes, zooming into reflections in pictures like I was in the freaking FBI. One time, I convinced myself a spoon reflection was a guy's shoulder. A spoon, Bob. That's when I learned something dangerous. Jealousy doesn't make you crazy. Insecurity does. If you were solid before, you question behavior. If you weren't, you question yourself. And I wasn't solid.
Most people don't spiral because they got cheated on. They spiral because it confirmed something they were already afraid of. Continue.
When it finally ended for real, that's when I broke. Couldn't eat, lost weight, stopped going to the gym, started drinking. Not blackout drunk, just enough to blur the edges of reality. Because sober thoughts were violent. Not violent like hurting someone, just loud, relentless. You ever lay down and your brain just replays everything? Different angles, different outcomes. What you should have said, what you could have done. It's like arguing with a ghost at 2 a.m. and losing.
That's actually your nervous system.
Bob, please, let me have one traumatic moment uninterrupted.
Okay, I'm quiet.
She posted something, and that destroyed me more than the cheating ever did. She posted him in the same Escalade, smiling, public, official. Same car, same seat, different guy. That's when it hits. You weren't betrayed, you were replaced. That's a different type of pain. It's not, why did you do this? It's, why wasn't I enough? That question will eat a man alive, because cheating attacks your trust, replacement attacks your identity, and I felt it in my chest, in my ego. I almost texted her one night, I forgive you, let's fix this. Read that again. She cheated, and I was ready to apologize for feeling hurt. That's when I realized something terrifying. I wasn't in love. I was addicted. Addicted to being chosen, and she didn't choose me.
Let's talk about that. When someone replaces you publicly, your brain processes it almost like social death. There's actual research showing that rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain. Not metaphorically, literally. That punch in the chest feeling? Your brain treats it like injury. Men, especially, tie identity to being the chosen one. If she chooses you, you win. If she chooses someone else, you lose, even if she's toxic. Even if the relationship was failing. Your ego doesn't care about logic. It cares about status. And being replaced feels like status collapse.
So basically, I wasn't heartbroken, I was dethroned.
Exactly. And when your ego takes a hit like that, you don't crave the person. You crave validation. You want to restore your position. That's why you almost texted her. Not because she was right for you, because you wanted to be chosen again. That's called ego attachment. And it's powerful. Studies on attachment theory show that anxious attachment types are more likely to chase after rejection. The brain goes, if I fix this, I prove I'm worthy. It becomes a self-worth negotiation.
Yeah, it wasn't love, it was proof. I wanted proof that I mattered, and when she posted him, it felt like proof that I didn't.
And that is ego death.
Now here's where it gets ugly, because this is the part I could never admit publicly. I lost self-respect, stalked her daily, drove past places I knew she'd be, not even smooth about it, just happened to need gas near her apartment 3 times in 1 week, posted gym stories hoping she'd see, you know the ones, veins popping, caption, locked in. I was not locked in. I was emotionally unemployed. Started talking to random girls just to feel wanted, replying in 0.3 seconds, typing essays, sending voice notes like I was campaigning for office. None of it worked, because when your ego is bleeding, validation feels like a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Temporary, useless, slightly embarrassing. There was one night I drank too much, scrolled through our old pictures, zoomed in. Why do we zoom in? What are we looking for? Clues? Regret? Hidden betrayal pixels? And I cried. Not quiet tears, ugly ones. The kind where your face folds in half and you sound like a malfunctioning engine. That's when I understood something. Heartbreak doesn't just hurt, it humiliates you. It makes you act out of character, makes you beg in ways you swore you never would, makes you shrink.
Can I say something without getting yelled at?
If you keep it under 10 seconds.
Men tie self-worth to desirability more than they admit. There's data showing that romantic rejection can temporarily lower perceived social status and self-esteem. So, when you were posting gym stories and chasing attention, you weren't trying to get her back. You were trying to restore your identity. Your brain was looking for proof you still mattered.
So the thirst traps were neuroscience.
Tragic neuroscience.
Cool, love that for me. But here's the part no one says out loud. When you lose someone like that, you don't just miss them, you miss who you were when they wanted you. And that's the addiction. That's the humiliation. Because you realize you're performing masculinity while internally falling apart, and nobody claps for that. There was one night I stared at my phone for 2 hours, thinking about texting her. Drafted it, deleted it, redrafted it, deleted it again. Finally fell asleep with the phone on my chest like a widowed Victorian man. That was my lowest. But the real turning point, it wasn't motivational. It wasn't a gym transformation montage. It was embarrassing. And that's what saved me. I ran into her at a lounge. I didn't plan it. I just walked in, and there she was, with him. She looked peaceful, relaxed, glowing, like someone who sleeps at night. I looked like I had been negotiating with demons since Tuesday, and for the first time, I saw myself through her eyes, not as the one that got away, not as the understood hero, just desperate, weak, small. And that hurt more than the cheating, because in that moment, I realized something ugly. I wasn't trying to win her back. I was trying to win my ego back. I didn't miss her. I missed being chosen. I missed feeling significant. And seeing her calm without me, that exposed everything.
This is actually a documented shift. When you stop viewing rejection as loss of love and start seeing it as ego injury, your recovery speeds up. Studies on breakup recovery show that people who frame it as identity disruption rather than soulmate loss detach faster. You stopped chasing her. You started confronting yourself. That's the pivot.
Wow, so my humiliation was neurological growth.
Painful enlightenment.
Freaking hate that phrase, but accurate. That night, I went home. No dramatic music, no inspirational speech, no I deserve better monologue in the mirror. Just quiet. Opened my phone, deleted everything. Pictures, chats, videos, screenshots I swore were just in case. Blocked her, not angrily, just quietly. 'Cause I finally understood something simple. You cannot heal while keeping the wound open. You can't say you're moving on while still checking if they viewed your story. You can't say you accept it's over while secretly hoping for a hey. That was the first real decision I made for myself. Not for revenge, not to make her notice, but because I was tired of bleeding privately. And something shifted. Not instantly, but noticeably. The noise got quieter. Now let me tell you exactly how I rebuilt myself. And this is the only part that actually matters. Now let me tell you how I actually rebuilt. Not wake up at 4 a.m. and dominate life, not she'll regret it. Real steps. Ugly, boring, effective. Step 1. I stopped looking. No stalking, no just checking, no accidental searches, no checking who liked her posts, because every peek is self-sabotage. You can't detox while sipping poison. Every time I checked her page, my body reacted like it was fresh news. Heart rate up, stomach drop, adrenaline spike, same pain, new day.
That's not dramatic. That's neuroscience. Romantic attachment activates the same reward circuitry as addiction. When you check their profile, your brain anticipates a dopamine hit. If you see something painful, cortisol spikes. Stress response. You literally re-trigger withdrawal. No contact works because it allows the brain's reward system to recalibrate. You weren't being weak. You were reinforcing the loop.
So stalking her wasn't love. It was a chemical dependency. Amazing. I was emotionally vaping. Step 2. I sat in the pain. I stopped drinking, stopped numbing, stopped pretending I was fine. Let it hurt, raw, unfiltered. And I realized something important. Pain peaks. Then it drops, but only if you stop feeding it. If you replay memories, it stays high. If you stalk, it spikes again. If you numb it, it pauses, then returns. But when you sit with it, it rises, shakes you, then slowly levels out.
That's emotional processing. Studies on grief show that suppressed emotion prolongs recovery. But fully felt emotion moves through faster. Avoidance stretches pain. Acceptance compresses it.
So crying like a malfunctioning engine was actually productive. Great, love that for me. Step 3, structure saved me. Gym, work, sleep schedule. Boring, unsexy, effective. Not to become alpha, to stabilize my nervous system. Because when your heart is chaos, routine is medicine. Waking up at the same time, training at the same time, eating properly, that consistency did something subtle. It reminded me I still had control over something. And when you lose someone, control feels priceless.
Structure reduces anxiety because predictability calms the stress response. After rejection, the brain perceives instability. Routine signals safety. Safety lowers obsessive thinking. This is why people who rebuild habits recover faster. It's not masculinity, it's regulation.
Regulation. Cool. Sounds better than revenge arc. Step 4. I accepted the hardest truth. She chose him. That's closure. No explanation would have satisfied me. No paragraph, no apology, no breakdown. Choice is closure. She made one.
And once I accepted that, the obsession faded, because the question stopped being why and became, okay, now what? I could still miss her, still care, still remember good moments, and accept it was over. Those things can exist at the same time. That's maturity, not indifference. Detachment isn't forgetting, it's releasing the future you imagined. That's the real breakup, not the person, the future. And once I detached from that version of life, I started building a new one, for me, not to make her regret anything, not to be seen, but because I finally respected myself enough to stop bleeding for someone who moved on peacefully. By the time she finally reached out, I didn't want her anymore. She broke me, but she also revealed me, the weak parts, the insecure parts, the ego-driven parts that needed to be chosen to feel important, and rebuilding those made me stronger than the relationship ever did. Here's the truth. The worst heartbreak of your life can either turn you bitter or dangerous in a disciplined way. Not toxic, not revenge-obsessed, disciplined. You take that pain and you build. You take that rejection and you raise your standards. Because heartbreak doesn't destroy you, it exposes where you were fragile. And once you fix that, you stop needing to be chosen. You start choosing. So be honest with yourself. Are you healing, or are you still secretly waiting for them to text you, "I miss you"? Because that answer, that's where recovery starts.
Beautiful, inspiring, 10 out of 10 growth arc. But I just have one important question.
What?
If she called right now and said, "I made a mistake," you folding or we standing on business?
Don't do that.
Be honest. If she pulled up in another Escalade, engine running, windows fog, that's it!
End the video.
Fine. If you're still stalking your ex, close the tab. If you're healing, respect. And if you learned something today, like the video, subscribe. Before Kai works on anger management using my face again.
He's dramatic.
But correct. Damn it. See you next time. And remember, don't text them.